Kia ora koutou, Markie here, the grizzled walrus of YouTube. And I'm particularly grizzled today. So, some of you who are maybe getting to know the channel will have realised that I do series and I also do one-off videos. This is kind of a bit of both, really, and it could probably fit within a couple of series. So I do stuff on relationships. And I do a series called Psyche Songs, which is about song meanings, song lyric meanings, that have something to say about the human condition or the psyche or such like. Now, you'll notice that I'm holding the camera the right way these days, and I have to kind of apologise for that, really, because my trademark was having it the wrong way around, which was for reasons which I go into in other videos. I've actually got a case on my phone now, protective case, that makes it very difficult to hold it the wrong way around. I have to hold it the right way up, which makes it even more shaky. So don't worry, you still get the shaky camera, even if you're missing the fact that it was the wrong way around. Because catchphrase for this channel is it's all content and no style whatsoever. There is no slickness or sleekness about this channel. It's grizzled in every respect. So let's get on with it. Okay, I want to impart some advice, which I picked up. This doesn't come from me, it comes from a colleague, and it resonated with the words of a song. Okay, so where should I start? Should I start with a song or should I start with the advice? Okay, let's start with the song. Okay, so Thin Lizzy. I'm kind of getting old now, and suddenly older. You know, I never was, but you know, it's overnight I'm old, and all my references are ones that people go, "Hey, what's that? What does that mean?" So Thin Lizzy, I think they're actually still going. An Irish rock band that have been around since I think certainly early 70s, possibly even late 60s. And they played heavy rock for the most part, but much more varied than that. And their early stuff is a real mix. And they played a lot of traditional Irish music and music that blended sort of heavy rock and traditional Irish music. And they played a little bit of funk as well, and kind of strayed into some other areas. And they were kind of quite unusual in terms of heavy rock, in that the lead singer was black. And you don't get many black people in heavy rock, sadly. You know, obviously Hendrix, one of our founders, one of our deities. He was black. I think was Hendrix black or mixed race. And I think certainly Phil Lynott was mixed race, but I think he's certainly identified as black, and I believe he was once quoted as answering the question. Somebody said, "Well, you know, what's it like to be Irish and black?" And I think he said, "Well, it's like Guinness," which is quite a good answer. So Thin Lizzy, lots of things I love Thin Lizzy. Lots of things I like about them, but a very unique sound, twin guitar sound. So the guitars would actually often follow each other. The lead guitars would, on the solos or the breaks, would actually follow each other, or follow each other follow something very close to one another, and then create variation. So the guitar sound was brilliant. The songs vary a lot. They vary in style, because, like I say, you know, different influences as well as the heavy rock. I had I think probably my one and only kind of ASMR experience listening to Thin Lizzy. I was listening not to this song I'm going to talk about, but to another song called Holy War. Where I had a really kind of profound kind of physical experience. I think the word that's usually used is kind of like frisson. So it's like a mini orgasm in my back. But it wasn't it's not. Don't worry, I'm not getting dirty on you. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was but very sensual, and it was, you know, just a really amazing kind of physical sensation as we were listening to the music. So the other thing, I suppose, just going back to why I like Thin Lizzy and the sound, is Phil Lynott's voice. You know, often people who are black, they have a different, a richer timbre, if that's the right word, to the voice. So, which you don't you don't get in rock very often, because you don't get very many black people in rock. So you tend to get different voices, different qualities of voices in rock. But I love his voice. I love the way he sang. So, and I say I'm talking in the past tense because sadly he died prematurely. He died young from a heroin overdose, which is really sad. Actually died in Salisbury Hospital, where I was looking after somebody that died there as well. Which is kind of weird. Yeah, amazing band. They've done some amazing stuff. So that is Thin Lizzy. Do I want to say any more about Thin Lizzy? I could probably say lots more about Thin Lizzy, but so I believe they're still going without him. I think they're a touring band, and I don't think they record anymore. I think the Wailers, the Bob Marley band, are still going. I think, and I think the Doors are still going on. There's a few bands with, I won't say iconic because I think the word is sort of horribly overused, but with these kind of legendary, which is probably another equally overused words, legendary lead singers that have died, and the band still continue. I suppose Queen as well to an extent, although Queen's a slightly different kettle of fish because the other band members sing as well. So Thin Lizzy. If you haven't listened to Thin Lizzy before, I thoroughly advise it. I would maybe just listen to the greatest hits. I think I really like the Thunder and Lightning album, but yeah, lots of things are good with Thin Lizzy. And of course, classic song "The Boys Are Back in Town," so you should check that one out. And of course, Phil Lynott was the main creative force within Thin Lizzy. I think he was the only continuous band member as well, and he till his obviously no longer continuous now, I guess. So he's the main driving force behind the band. And Creative also wrote or co-wrote most of the songs, including this one, "Don't Believe a Word." So I'm going to move closer to where I can see the words which are on the screen. So I'm going to read the lyrics. So I'm going to post them in the description box as well, but I don't always get around to that very quickly. So don't believe me if I tell you, not a word of this is true. Don't believe me if I tell you, especially if I tell you I'm in love with you. Don't believe me if I tell you that I wrote this song for you. Oh, my screen's gone. Screensaver's kicked in. How disagreeable. There just might be some other silly pretty girl I'm singing to. Don't believe a word, for words are so easily spoken, and your heart is like that promise made to be broken. Don't believe a word, because words can tell lies, and lies are no comfort when there's tears in your eyes. Don't believe me if I tell you, not a word of this is true. Don't believe me if I tell you, especially if I tell you I'm in love with you. Don't believe a word. No, don't believe a word. Don't believe me, not a single word. Don't ya? That's the lyrics. I was going to say something else about Phil Lynott then, but I've lost it, which is annoying. So, yeah, what hearing that, what does that say to you? I think it to me it's a very immediate song. It's not one of these ones where you kind of have to guess at some kind of esoteric meaning. But I think it just puts it so clearly, really. And what made me think of this recently was it was a colleague that said she had a teenage daughter who was just starting dating and stuff like that. And the advice that she gave to her is don't judge, because she's a straight girl, don't judge the boys by what they say, judge them by what they do. And I thought, wow, that's brilliant. It's so simple, but so powerful. Because if you think, people do in romantic situations, they do come out with some bollocks and some bullshit, don't they? They really do. And don't believe me, especially if I tell you that I love you. Because guys, and I don't want to brand all guys with the same, tar all guys with the same brush. But men do have a high sex drive. They do like to, or many men like to, make what they call sexual conquests. They like to have, multiple partners. So I'm not saying everybody, but this is something that is more common, I guess, in and there are women that are like that, but it's more common in guys than women, and particularly young people who are immature and they're playing the field and haven't kind of learned their hard lessons yet. And that applies to people that are, if you like, taken advantage of, as well as to the people that take advantage. So what a brilliant and succinct piece of advice. Judge them by what they do, not by what they say. So, what that makes me think of is, do they turn up? Do they turn up when they say they're going to turn up? Are they, do they want to be there when they're with the partner, their girlfriend or whatever it might be? I don't want to be too heteronormative really, but it's probably the easiest way to kind of explain it, and that's the kind of the context where this idea came to me. But it applies across the board. It applies in queer relationships or anything else. But does the other person want to be there? Would they rather be somewhere else? Do they kind of make every excuse not to turn up? Do they turn up late? Do they turn up drunk? Do they, they're looking at their watch because they want to be somewhere else afterwards? I think gifts you have to maybe be a little bit careful of, because gifts can be a little bit like words. But sometimes a gift can be judged as an action. Sometimes they're deceptive. But doesn't that make sense? Judge your partner. For everyone. Take this away from gender and from age. From young, but with any kind of relationship, if you're with somebody in a new relationship, and you want to get the measure of them, judge them by their actions, not by their words. And also, if their actions are over the top, if their actions are extreme, because that can be, somebody that feigns. Makes massive gestures and declarations and is all over you and kind of love bombs you in the early days. That can be as much as a warning sign as somebody that's indifferent and disinterested. So judge them by their actions, not by their words, because words are so easily spoken. So I just love that. So so there's a whole series called Psyche Songs. So this is so I call it Psyche Songs, call it the Psyche Songs series. So some are more, if you like, psychological than others. They're all about basically about kind of human behaviour. Some are about addiction, some are about codependency. So this isn't anything kind of particularly kind of that you would find in kind of theoretical academic psychology, but it's about like I say, about the human condition, about human behaviour, and vulnerability, and predation, all those things in this song. And I'm really annoyed that I can't think what the other thing I was going to say about Thin Lizzy. That's going to bug me now, and then I'll have to put it in the description box below later. So check out the song. It's a great song. It was fantastic. It's got a great riff to it. Check out Thin Lizzy. Check out the rest of the series that I've done called Psyche Songs. More to come. That's it. It wasn't to do with Phil Lynott at all. It was another song. I mean, I've done Psyche Songs on Evanescence before. Evanescence have got a song called You Never Call Me When You're Sober, which I think has got a similar kind of sentiment. It's not exactly saying the same thing as this song, but it's kind of painting a picture of a similar kind of relationship. You never call me when you're sober, which I think says an awful lot. So check that one out as well. Probably won't do a separate video on that, but check out Evanescence. You Never Call Me When You're Sober. So that will do it. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything at all, but if I have, look in the description box down below. Please give me a comment, please give me a like, please subscribe, please sign up on Patreon. Anyway, you can support the channel, we really appreciate it. Although we do a wide range of stuff on this channel, that we do have a serious mission with this channel, and that's around helping people around particular conditions and issues. And we kind of put lots of other hopefully entertaining and interesting stuff on the channel to keep the channel alive and make it prosper. And it has. It's just gone over the 1,000 subscribers mark, so we're getting there slowly. So thank you for your help and thank you for watching. If you're a subscriber and you've been supporting us all along or for some time, thank you very much. We really appreciate that, and we'll be back soon with something completely different, no doubt. Rangimarie.